Good evening. This is All India Radio Kohima. I'm Jonas Yantan with Evening News. The headlines. President Droupadi Murmu asserts that India has a stable, fearless and decisive government which is working towards realizing the big dreams. Chief Electoral Officer Nagaland Shashank Shekhar says all advertisements of political nature should be pre-certified. Returning officers of various assembly constituencies issues notice of election to Nagaland Legislative Assembly. In the existing Nagaland Legislative Assembly to continue till the 12th of March. Now the news in detail. President Droupadi Murmu today asserted that India has a stable, fearless and decisive government which is working towards realizing the big dreams. She said surgical strike, firm crackdown on terrorism, befitting response to every misadventure from the line of control and line of actual control, abrogation of Article 370 and triple talaq is the example of the decisive government. Addressing the joint sitting of both the Houses of Parliament at a central hall, the President said, "Today the country has a government that respects the honest and works to solve the problems of the poor and empower them permanently." She stressed on the need to build a nation by 2047 which not only embraces its glorious past but also encompasses every golden aspect of modernity. She emphasized to build an India which is self-reliant and also able to fulfill its humanitarian obligations. The President urged the citizens to perform their duties during the Amrit Kaal to make the country a developed one. She said India, which once looked to others for solutions to most of its problems, is today emerging as a provider of solutions to the issues faced by the world. Talking about India's G20 presidency, the President said, with the mantra One Earth, One Family, One Future, the country is attempting to find collective solutions to the current global challenges in collaboration with the G20 member countries. Murmu added that the government has taken a number of successful steps for lasting peace and has confronted the geographical challenges. As a result, the northeast and the country's border areas are experiencing a new pace of development. Chief Electoral Officer CEO Nagaland Shashank Shekhar has informed that all advertisements of political nature on television channels and cable networks need to be pre-certified by the Media Certification and Monitoring Committee (MCMC). The CEO said advertisement pertaining to districts will have to be certified by the MCMC constituted in the district under the chairmanship of the Deputy Commissioners and District Election Officers. Shekhar said the returning officer of the respective parliamentary constituencies will be the designated officers for certification of an advertisement proposed to be issued on cable network or television channel by an individual candidate contesting in the election. The CEO informed that the designated officer or the review committee constituted can direct deletion or modification of any part of the advertisement before it is published. He said a directive of the Supreme Court will apply not only to political parties and candidates but also to any individual, trust or organizations. The CEO further added that advertisements that are political in nature will not be published in the print media on the poll day and 1 day prior to the poll day unless the contents of the advertisements are pre-certified by the MCMC. Returning officers ROs of various assembly constituencies has issued notice of election to the Nagaland Legislative Assembly from their respective constituencies. The ROs have informed that the nomination papers may be delivered by a candidate or by any of his proposers to the RO or the assistant RO between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. on any day other than public holiday on or before 7th February. The ROs informed that the nomination papers will be taken up for scrutiny on 8 February, while notice of withdrawal of candidature may be delivered either by a candidate or by any of his proposers or by his election agent who has been authorized in writing by the candidate before 3 p.m. of February 10th. The ROs further informed that in event of the election being contested, the poll will be taken up on 27 February between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. The existing Nagaland Legislative Assembly will continue till 12th of March 2023 and will stand dissolved on the expiry of its duration. In this regard, Governor of Nagaland has notified that under the relevant section of the Representation of the People's Act 1951, published in the official Gazette of the state today, general elections will be conducted for the purpose of constituting a new Legislative Assembly of the state. The nomination of candidates for the State Legislative Assembly began today and will continue till 7th February. Scrutiny of candidature will take place on the following day, while the last date for withdrawal of candidature is February 10th. The state is scheduled to go to polls on 27th of February. This news comes to you from All India Radio, Kohima. You can also listen to this news bulletin on News on Air app and YouTube channel AIR News Kohima. The meeting between the delegation of Eastern Nagaland and the Ministry of Home Affairs yesterday at Guwahati ended in a stalemate as no conclusion could be drawn. General Secretary Eastern Naga Students Federation Manlang Pom said the meeting with the central team was inconclusive. Manlang also reaffirmed that ENPO area will abstain from the polls until the demand for Frontier Nagaland is met. The second round of meeting has been scheduled to continue today. The Economic Survey 2022-23 has projected a baseline GDP growth of 6.5% in real terms in the next financial year. The survey was presented in both Houses of Parliament today by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman ahead of the Union Budget to be presented tomorrow. According to the survey, the Indian economy is expected to grow at 7% in real terms in the current financial year. It also said India will remain the fastest growing major economy in the world. The survey said India has become the world's fifth largest economy and the nominal GDP of India will be around $3.5 trillion in March this year. The survey stated that a rise in consumer prices has slowed considerably. According to the survey, the annual rate of inflation is below 6% and wholesale prices are rising at a rate below 5%. The export of goods and services in the first 9 months of the current financial year is up 16% compared to the same period in 2021-22. The International Monetary Fund (IMF) has said that India will remain the fastest growing major economy in the world despite global headwinds. The IMF released its January update on World Economic Outlook today. It said that India will grow at 6.1% in 2023 before picking up to 6.8% in 2024, fueled by resilient domestic demand. IMF also pointed out that the growth in emerging and developing Asia is expected to rise at 5.3% in 2023 and 5.2% in 2024. The expenditure observer for the ensuing general election 2023 to the 9 Kohima town, 10 North Nangami 1 and 11 North Nangami 2 assembly constituencies, Samatha Mulamuthi, arrived today. On her arrival, Deputy Commissioner and District Election Officer Kohima, Shanava C, gave an overview of the status of the preparation of the election process in the district. Mulamuthi also inspected various cells set up in the DC office premises and shared her views on proper record maintenance. Nagaland Conservatory of Music Choir, led by their conductor Hito Kiho, represented Nagaland at Bharat Parv 2023 held in New Delhi yesterday. The Bharat Parv 2023 is a program initiated by Ministry of Culture and Ministry of Tourism. The choir performed a wide repertoire of choral music from folk, patriotic, Bollywood songs and others. And now to the news, here are the main points again. President Droupadi Murmu asserts that India has a stable, fearless and decisive government which is working towards realizing the big dreams. Chief Electoral Officer Nagaland Shashank Shekhar says all advertisements of political nature should be pre-certified. returning officers of various assembly constituencies issues notice of election to Nagaland Legislative Assembly. In the existing Nagaland Legislative Assembly to continue till 12th of March. That is all we have in this evening news bulletin. Good night.